Hey guys, it's Max Convexity. Let's take a look at these option trades and these profit boxes for tomorrow. All right, let's start here with the SPX. Why don't we? All right, let's see here. Sorry it's a little bit late. I needed to get the spreadsheets started for the new month. Whenever you have a new month starting, you have to change a bunch of stuff around. And anyway, so these guys, well, let's talk about what happened today first. These guys made $404,000 today. That's perfect. They sold an option for 15 and bought it back for 0, or they didn't have to buy it back, so they realized the $15 profit, which makes 5 cents per share on the month, earnings per share, and an extrinsic capture of 6 cents. Which equates to a dividend estimate of $1.12, but it's a little bit early for that dividend estimates. All right, so they sold 271 5110s for $21.35. So you got to subtract $21.35 from $51.10, right? And that gives you the break even. So that's $50.88, $50.89. I mean, $50.88.65 basically. So that's the number we're rooting for. We need it to be over that number. If we can get it to the strike price, that's max profit. So if we get it to 51.10 or over by the close of the day tomorrow, that'd be a profit of $578,000, which equates to 43 basis points, or, well, then it would take us to 13 cents a share on the month. That'd be nice. That'd be a great way to start off the month. A lot better than last month. Remember what happened last month? We started off with $1 million loss, $1.5 million loss. All right, so this month is definitely, hopefully, going to start off better. I bet tomorrow's a profit. If you look over here at the SPX, they closed on the highs. I like when it closes on the highs. And I also like weeks that close at one extreme or the other. And we're close to the highs for the week too, so I'm going to say that we close on the highs of the week tomorrow in the SPX, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to say we close for the high for the week in all three of them, but especially this one. All right, well, let's look over here at the QQQYs. These guys trade NDX options, as I'm sure you guys know. Here's what the profit box looks like. When I zoom in, I can see how sloppy these are. All right, but that's how the profit box looks. So let's take a look over here at the triple QY. So these guys made $1.6 million today. Great job, guys. Sold something for 94 and bought it back for 0, or they did not have to buy it back. Okay, they sold today though, or for tomorrow, they sold 172 puts at the 18,110 level. We back in the 18s? Yeah, we hit the 18 one time, and then we sold off. I was going to say, well, then we hit 18 level a couple of days ago also. All right, so for the third time in the history of this fund, we have an 18,000 strike price. So we sold the 18,110 for $91. Subtract 91 from 18,110 and you get 18,19. So 18,019 is basically the break even, right? Right. All right. So if we close over 18,19, we'll make some money. But if we close at 18,110 or above, we'll make all the money, which comes to $1.5 million. That'd be nice because that would take us to 18 cents positive earnings per share on the month. And it would take us to, we just captured 7 cents of extrinsic per share, but we only get, hang on, I need to adjust my calculations, which equates to $1.29. Now, the dividend's not going to be nearly that high, so I probably ought to just quit projecting it when it's this early in the month. I don't know how to make the software do it. The projections would get a little bit closer probably when you've at least had 5 days go by or something. Anyway, I'll work on that this weekend. There's a lot of improvements I want to make to this webpage. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I put assets under management and shares up here, because every night I was having to go change those manually. And to do that, I would have to go to the Defiance site and then I would have to physically look at the shares and then look at the assets, and I'd save in my head and try to memorize them real quick, and then I'd click back over, then I'd click back over here, and I'd go over here, and then I'd type it in, and by then I would have forgot what the fund size was. I might remember one of them, so then I would go back and then go back. Well, anyway, now I can make a formula to get these automatically, right? So now I can, and what I tried to do is I tried to put the formula in the cells. But the problem is that formula will, as the days go by, it won't give me the shares for that day and freeze it. Like it might give me 7.2 shares for that day, and then the next day if we get 7.3 shares, both of the cells would say 7.3 because it's the same formula. Well, we don't have the... Anyway, so what I did is I quit doing it because it updates every day. So all I do is I look here, and I transfer the number from here to here and from here to here. And that way, at least I don't have to jump back and forth between pages. If anyone knows how to make a formula, this is my formula. I use an import XML. So this formula will go get that. It will fetch that number and scrape it. But I want to scrape it into that cell and then freeze it after it's scraped. So the next night when I copy the cell down, it'll go and run the query again, but it won't change both cells. It'll just change the new cell. I'm sure there's a way to do that. I'm going to ask Corey for help this weekend. I've mentioned Corey about 3 times, and a bunch of you guys have followed her, but she's really good. I'd say she's almost as good as Retire on Dividends as far as breaking stuff down in following the daily trades. So her name of her YouTube site is Happy Camper Dividends, and hopefully she's offered to help me before. I think she'll know all kinds of tricks I could do for this. But in any event, so these guys, so first we'll go to yesterday, or today. They sold options for $16.72, and they expired worthless. So that was a $1 million winner, which is 82 basis points. That's huge, or 15 cents a share. That's gigantic. Oh, wait, I already have a problem. I can already see it. Well, anyway, I'll go fix that later. 15 cents a share is awesome. Beautiful job, guys. All right, so for tomorrow, we sold 648 options, put options at the 2065 level for, we'll call that 15 bucks. Subtract 15 from 2065, and what do you have? You have 2050. All right, 2050 is the magic number. Hang on, I'm going to let Jax in. All right, sorry about that. So, what was I saying? So, 2050 is the magic number. But if we close above 2050, we make some profit. If we close above 2065, we make all the profit. Well, all the profit amounts to $960,000. A little bit less than they made today, but it'd be a nice start to the month. Like I say, this is wrong. I'm going to go back and fix that later. So, but it's probably would amount to... it'd be 28 cents. If we get that winner, it'll be 28 cents earnings per share on the month. And let me make sure. This isn't updated either. My gosh. All right, I'll go fix that later. That extrinsic and stuff really doesn't matter this early in the month, but I'll have those fixed. All right, so let's go over here and let's look at the profit box for Russell. Okay, there's the profit box for Russell. Let's look at old TLT. Do any of you guys have TRES? You know, they paid a pretty good dividend today. Their dividend came out to about 15%. I mean, it's nothing like, you know, JEPY or QQQY pays. It's about a third of that. But, I mean, it's, you know, it's still, it's more than I expected. I figured it might pay 5%, 10%, 7%, something like that. Okay. Well, so here is the no profit box, or the Valley of Death box. We're right in the middle of it right now, but we'll see what we do tomorrow. We're going the right direction. We just need to go up here. Let's look at, if you'd like to, let's look at the trade simulator where I've got the trade I've got this trade programmed in. This saves me a lot of accounting, because I can see right here they're up $2,600, and that's $1,800 more than yesterday. You know, and it's because I just punched all the numbers in here. The reason you see 292.5 puts is these are, well, they sold half their position, and it leaves the sold ones up there. They started with 380 short puts and 390 short puts and 390 short calls. But then they bought half the short puts back. So they closed for 56 cents. They closed half the puts. Well, anyway, that gave them a little profit, but now they only have 195 short puts, but they still have 390 short calls. Okay, but then on top of that, and for 2 more weeks further out in the future, they have 780 long calls and 780 long puts. But yeah, I'm starting to get a lot more interested in this now that I see they're paying 15%. I mean, 15% is pretty good. If I could ever get Jay on this show, the question I want to ask him is, this would be great black swan protection. I mean, if we did get a day where the market moved down 10% or something, I wonder if they would take it off. Because the other, last month, they had this trade on, and the market went up like 5%. Bonds went up like 5%, and they had $50,000 profit on the table. They didn't take it off. They didn't do anything, or they didn't hedge to try to lock in any of the trade. Sure enough, what did the market do? It slipped right back in the middle of Valley of Death. I just wonder what their plans are for, because that's the main thing I like about this, is you don't have any outlier risk. If you don't care if the bonds go to zero, boom, you're fine. This fund's fine. I mean, the bonds go up 20% in one day or something, the fund's fine. And most funds that sell premium and these types of funds, they are not fine when an outlier move happens. That's the time when they aren't fine. So I'm definitely intrigued with this fund. Let me know if you guys have any ideas on it, but I'm definitely intrigued. All right, so what else do we have to look at? Let's look at old Tesla, and I haven't checked the Yield Max sites yet. So if I do that one more time, okay, we're looking at Tesla. All right, so they're a little bit they're capped out. They're capped out on this one, and they haven't rolled yet that I know of. I'll check again before the morning, or in the morning I'll listen to Retire on Dividends, and he'll mention if they did. But I think all these are the same I showed you after work. So we're going to look at Coney now. All right, so Coney is definitely capped. I just can't believe they haven't rolled this yet. All right, so now we're going to look at in NVIDIA. NVIDIA has options spread all over the place, laddered. These are called, it's laddered when it does that. You have laddered not expirations, you have laddered strike prices. That looks good. And then the last one is MSTR. All right, yeah, they did a really nice move on this because they covered these two today and they rolled to these two. So they have plenty of room for capital growth, and they're bringing in a little premium too, and that's what it's all about, bringing in that premium. All right, let's see, what else should we look at? Let's look at the old buffer report. How about that? What the heck? You got to be kidding me. What happened to the buffer report? What? There's no way. I love this frickin' report. I have no idea what's going on. All right, guys. Well, I'll try to fix the buffer report, but that's really pissing me off. I was really starting to dig this buffer report. What do they mean, add a series to start visualizing? I've already done that. Hey, if I close it and open it again, it'll come back. I swear I didn't do anything to mess it up. What are all these NAs here? Maybe that has something to do with the two. Maybe they're all NAs. That really makes me mad. All right, leave it in the comments if you guys have any ideas. Hopefully it's just nightly maintenance, and it'll be back tomorrow. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful evening, and let's check futures really quick before I let you guys go. There's NASDAQ futures up 20 basis points. S&P futures up 12 basis points. Russell pretty much flat. All right, guys, I'll be back in the morning. You guys have a wonderful evening.